hopefully we have money left in our account for mailing. If you would mail them out, we'd appreciate that. If it is, let me see, if it is, no, we have session on the 14th, so I can't bring them down and pass them out because that's after the meeting. So, okay, good enough, we have that. So hopefully we will get those out. And next meeting will be December 12th for the budget. Okay? Anybody want to have any other details prior to the time we go into the presentation about the old nursing home?
We are going to get to these, right?
Yes, we will do that. If the agenda says we'll do that after we have the presentation. Okay? Commissioners.
Each of you received a copy of the proposed budget for the old nursing home. This was what you agreed upon as far as getting those estimates at the last meeting. And we asked Bonapage and Stone to put this together. Hopefully you've had a chance to look it over. It doesn't fall within the bounds that you had set. You set, I believe, $1 million, and it's $1.2 million something. It's open for any suggestions. We don't have to do anything to that building. There's no deadline on it right now. But those are some areas that if the ideal situation was to renovate it, that's what should be done. There are some things in there that I think we don't have to do in order to put maintenance, laundry, and corporate extension into that building. There's a lot in there that need to be done. For example, the tile, asbestos tile needs to be removed. The electricity isn't the best. We put in new panels on the wings to get by the state inspection, but electricity has to be done. I haven't had a chance to look to see about an ADA-approved bathroom facility. There should be one in there, and I did check with somebody, and they said yes, that was true. It was grandfathered, but it's not up to code for the present time. I think we met with Cooperative Extension, and we didn't have to change an awful lot within the Cooperative Extension area. However, there was a petition that was going to take down and some reworking. Whether we need to put in the ceiling, a new ceiling or not, might be questionable. Whether we have to put in air conditioning, that tends to be one of the largest items in the budget, something like $81,000, I believe. You know, ideally, if it's for long term, it should be put in. But whether it has to be put in is questionable. We've got along without it so far in the old nursing home. There's a lot of countertops in there that are quite expensive, and also the painting is quite expensive. So I guess I'd open it up for questions from any delegation members. We sent that to you early enough so that you had a chance to look at it. Like I say, there's a lot of things in there that we can reduce. And Randy Remick from Bonapage and Stone is here to try to answer any questions that you have.
Okay. Representative Babson, you had a question. Representative Falk.
Madam Chairman, I would like to know if these estimates include any portion of the unbelievably high cost of hooking the furnace up, which I'm sure you all know by now is $300,000, which is more than we paid for the furnace. And part of that is to come through not only hooking it up, but as we were told at a commissioners meeting here a while back, to take down a wall to go through to move it in. Is any of that $300,000 included anywhere in this estimate of repair?
No.
Another question?
Yes.
If you look at the exclusions here,
what page are you on?
it's not marked, but it would be page 3, I think. 4. It would be count very well. all architectural and structural design fees are excluded, so on top of the 400 and, or whatever the total is, we have to add that figure?
Right. Any soft costs like we had with the nursing home will be, basically in this case, design and contingency. Just so everybody has this framed right too, I think it's important to know, these were estimates put together without a final design. Obviously, you haven't got an architect yet, so it isn't designed. But these should be pretty close ranges for the assumptions that were made. And on the co-op in particular, that is, it's important to note that that is a new ceiling, rewired, and a new central ducted air system for fresh air in the building and so forth. Now, you may decide that that's more extensive than you want to do, but that's what this represents. It represents removing the asbestos tile, new flooring, fresh paint, and dressing the space up. If you decide that you can live as it exists, or primarily as it exists, then obviously there's a lot of flexibility there. But you're right, David, that does not include the soft costs, which is probably, I don't know, 15%, I would say, on top of that, on a typical average for design and a contingency.
So that's gonna be roughly another 200,000, so
No.
10%, 10.
Oh, on the total, on just the co-op pieces, like the current budget here is 450.
No, I'm talking about the whole, on the whole building, we're looking at
You add roughly
an addition.
15%, and that may vary a few points one way or the other. When
If
you get
yours was
final quotes,
1.2, then it's gonna be somewhere around
of
250,000.
whichever items you choose to select, if any.
Thank you.
Yep.
Representative Fleck.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. My question relates to the doors and the windows. Did we anticipate that we would need, particularly in the front, that we would need new doors and windows? Is that
The way the estimate is, I had the guys look at it with leaving the front entry lobby, which is in pretty reasonable shape, and then changing improvements to some of the doors and hardware. It's kind of a 50-50. Keep some of the existing, improve it to ADA, meaning lever handles, that sort of thing. Some new doors and frames. The windows were all new outside of the front lobby, other than the little sunroom that's in the front entry. They were replacing the windows.
Okay.
That also includes the windows where we take the wings down.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
in the doors too?
Right,
Yeah.
correct. And there's some assumptions there as to what that final design would become, but yes, that would be all brand new.
Yes, Representative Umberger.
In the nursing home budget, was there money set aside in there to take down any of the old wings of the nursing home?
$100,000.
Okay. So out of the cost that was associated with taking down wings in here, that is less $100,000?
It has not been negated yet. There's been no adjustment for that
Okay.
yet. This is looking at it pure as though it stood alone, but there was a $100,000 allowance to do some demolition over there. It was never really defined as to what that would be, but there was $100,000 in the nursing home budget.
Thank you. So that's still available?
Correct, yeah.
Any further questions? Representative Schmidt.
Commissioner Sorensen talked about meeting current code. I assume when we get into a renovation of this scope, it has to be totally brought up to new existing code.
Pretty much. I think that's one thing that...
Does this accomplish that?
I think it pretty much does for the spaces we're talking about, and it may, you know, there's a potential, like with a co-op, it may even be a little beyond that at this point. Until a design team has reviewed that in total, they've made some assumptions as to fire alarm need and rewire. Like, for example, the electrical is pretty much rewired. I mean, if we get into that and determine some of that can stay, then obviously you may save some money in the end budget. But to give you an idea of scale of these things, this is what we felt you could potentially get involved with.
Okay. But I know you had mentioned ADA bathrooms and ramps, and you're going to have to do that. Right?
We built into the co-op budget, there is a brand new ADA bathroom constructed. Basically where the, I think the location was assumed to be, as you enter the nursing home, there's a couple of small bathrooms to the left. That one of those pods of bathrooms would be basically gutted and turned into an ADA compliant room. There is a handicap bathroom in there today, which is in the old training or physical therapy area to the left, but it doesn't truly meet ADA. Whether they would grandfather that, I would doubt. I think the nursing home got away with it. I think when you change the use, I don't believe you could. Because it doesn't truly meet the ADA law. It does have grab bars, does have a handicap toilet, but it doesn't meet size and space requirements.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Representative Merrill.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chairman. This is for Chairman Sorensen. I got a little bit ahead of myself, but you know, if we floated a bond on this, how long it would be and approximately what the monthly payments would be? It's based on the figures you got here.
Kathy, you have that information?
That is Kathy Gary's. Kathy Gary is in the business office. That's one. He's asking the question.
Is the 450 right here, 3.38. There it is. A 20-year, 3.38 loan amount of 450,000 is 30,000 annually payment.
So about
Go ahead,
20.
follow.
You said for 450,000.
Right.
What about the rest of it? Is that, we got money to do that? This is over $1 million. Where's the rest of the money come from?
We will have money left over from the new building at 3% interest. I
You have
also
money left
guaranteed
over to pay
everybody
everything
that
else
we'd
you
have
have.
at least 2 million left over, and it looks like we're gonna have more than that.
Okay.
The final figures are not in yet, we still got some
And
payments to do, but it's gonna be well over 2 million.
And that's what you had anticipated.
That's what we're anticipating, we're definitely gonna have 2 million.
All right. And that-
So it is the thought of the commissioners that the 450, you kind of separated that out for what it would be for the extension, so
Right.
we would know the cost of what
Right,
extension's
because you were
going.
talking about the
Yeah.
annual rent for the extension.
Yes,
Let's
and
see.
then
Let's
if we had determined to go to the $1.2 million, there was an assumption on the commissioners that we would take that out of the existing bond that we have. We would have payments out of that
Right.
at and I know that we're at a lower than 3.3.
3%.
Yeah. So that would be your assumption, that we would take the rest and use the bonding that we already have for the new
Right.
nursing home. Okay. Does anybody have questions on that? Harry, did that answer your
Yeah,
question?
yeah, thank you.
Yes, Representative Umberger.
Yes, I get a little concerned that we're looking at, for the co-op, refurbishing at $450,000, which the taxpayers will pay. And then we're turning around and providing them $40,000 a year so that we can pay back our loan. So, to me, that's sort of like a double dip on the taxpayers, because the taxpayers are paying for the bond out of the money that we have been, providing to the co-op on a regular basis. Plus, we're floating a bond for the repair work. So I have a little difficulty with that particular arrangement, so that it's a double cost, so to speak, to the taxpayer.
Yes, I think that, and one of the reasons I think that it came to us this way is that we wanted to know what was going to be the cost of putting extension in. What we have not determined that this is what we're going to do, and your objection to so-called double dipping is noted. But I do believe that we wanted to break it out so that we would have some idea of what the extension was going to be. Representative Merrow and then Commissioner
Just
Sorensen.
my thoughts on that, based on what Representative Umberger said. The $40,000 that we would be paying to ourselves, so to speak, if we didn't pay it to ourselves, we'd be paying it to someone else. So it would seem to me that if we're paying it to somebody else, at least if we paid it to ourselves, we'd be getting the use out of it by putting it in the building.
that's a discussion we're gonna have if we decide we're gonna do this.
That-
Commissioner
I
Sorensen.
agree with Representative Merrill.